hello, and welcome to Cory's Corner. Uh, Wonderful Monday morning. Greetings to all. We have a fun and wonderful show lined up today, whatever time it is. I don't know. My brain's fried. Yeah, joining us today is the amazing Sean from Escaping the Matrix. How you doing today, sir?
Hello, one and all. I'm doing all right, considering it's been a bit of a all over the place Monday so far.
I feel that. I feel that. Also joining us today in the chat is Vince Womack. Greetings and salutations, sir.
Hey,
It's
Vince.
wonderful to see you. And Tiny Metal Trees. Hi there. Ahoy. Yar. It's wonderful to see you, Tiny Metal Trees.
Greetings.
Awesome. So before we jump into things, I'll just give you guys a quick update on the last week or so, because obviously I didn't put out any real content. So Mom is now on hospice for her cancer. For those of you who are unaware, Mom has 5 different types of cancer, stage 4. We went through all of the motions on treatment and stuff like that, and of course, nothing worked. So she's now on hospice care. She is at home. She has one more surgery she has to go through before they'll let her stay there. So that ate up a lot of my time after being sick the week before. And then directly in the middle of all that, I went and gave myself a lovely burn on my neck. You can't really see it very much right now, but it swelled enough to impact the muscles, nerves, and the tendon on that side of my neck. So if you see me grimace in pain, that's all it is. I am not cringing at anything my panelists friends have to say if anyone else shows up. It will just be me going, oh, that hurts. And you'll be all like, oh, wow, that was a weird face. So yeah, but we do have some fun stories lined up today, ladies and gentlemen. We are stepping back, it feels like, into the 1960s. And thank you, Vince. He says sorry for that. That's life, bro. It does happen. We've been dealing with dying people in my family for 15 years or so, maybe a little more. So not to sound cold and callous, but I'm used to it at this point. I've reached a point where it's literally just a part of life, and I've accepted that. But anyway, yeah, so we are stepping back into the 1960s today because we're talking about dogs biting postal workers, women hiring hitmen to off their lovers' wives, and a possible serial killer in Portland, all around the Portland, Oregon area. And of course, it's been a while since they've actually confirmed a serial killer here in the United States. So that's why it's still a possible serial killer, because the FBI will never sensationalize that the way they used to, or else we'll get another wonderful time like the 60s where we just have one after the other, because they all want attention and they're all just stupid bastards. So, but anyway, hail Terminus Est. Pleasure to see you here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you are, to steal a Truman Show quote. Yes, I love that movie, by the way.
Movie.
It's a great movie. So we should probably just jump right into these articles.
Let's do it.
Let's see. Let's start with the dogs. Here's a fun question for everybody to answer. How many dogs or how many postmen do you think were bitten by dogs over the last year?
I mean, I gotta say it's a lot. Isn't that a bit of a classic? The dog going after the postman. I mean, definitely within the hundreds that have gone reported.
Okay. Sean
but
says in the hundreds. Tiny Metal Trees says 63.
Very specific.
Vince says not enough. You might actually take that back once you see how many have been bitten. It's
just
kind
in the
of
United
insane.
States alone? Or
just in the United States.
Just in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting the feeling like I've lowballed it, but
let's just say everyone lowballed it. I guarantee fucking tee it. Right. Guessing time's up, ladies and gentlemen. Here it comes. 5,300 mail carriers were bitten by dogs last year alone.
Oh man.
5,300 mail carriers. I want this to go away, but it won't. You fucking bastards. And of course, this is coming from NPR, one of the most trusted and reliable sources in mail this side of CNN. Yeah. Vince says, the way they handle the mail, they deserve it. Sometimes they do. I will agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Percent. And he follows that up with nice. 5,300 mail carriers attacked by dogs. I mean, damn. That's a lot.
It does sound like an old-fashioned stereotype. That's because it is, but I don't know. I've seen people setting up cameras, those cameras right by their doorbell or whatever.
Yeah, like the Ring and stuff.
Yeah, and I've seen some shocking videos of what those postal workers do with the packages and whatnot, dude. So this puts a little bit of a smile on my face. Not that I'm condoning harm on people. But yeah, that's pretty funny. I gotta
It
admit.
is. Tiny Metal Trees says attacked, or did the dogs simply disagree with them? That would depend on if they are left wingers or not, based on your definition of attacked. And here's where it actually gets a little crazy. So in 2022, dogs attacked more than 5,300 employees who were delivering the mail, according to the U.S. Postal Service. So these are the people that have to pay the bills for these dogs biting them. So it's probably pretty accurate, but it was a slight drop from the previous year, which more than 5,400 postal employees were attacked. 5,400, like this is the same routes that are getting attacked too, because ain't nobody gonna discipline their dogs over this shit.
Post 2020, man. We're living
Right?
in a new time.
Vince asks, does it come across that I might have a little grudge with the mailmen? Maybe a little bit, but it's an understandable and in many cases justifiable.
For sure.
Just honestly. Officials say even well-behaved pets who don't show signs of aggression may lash out at postal workers who often must enter a property to drop off the mail, and the results can sometimes be deadly. Well, they're fucking dogs. Okay? They're two things: territorial and vicious. And no, I'm not saying all dogs are vicious, but if you fuck with their territory, you fuck with their people, they gonna get vicious. And I'm sorry, but mailmen don't exactly look like friendly people.
I'm going to have a bit of a
Judgment.
cynical moment here, actually, and just chime in. Given the rise of snowflakes over the past, let's say, half decade, just to be safe, dogs bark a lot, and I wonder how many of those reports are postal workers that actually didn't get physically attacked, but a dog like maybe quote unquote viciously barked at them when they approached, and they
Oh my
reported it as
gosh,
an
it
attack.
caused me so much
Mhm.
trauma. Oh my
Yep,
gosh.
there it is.
Susan, it was a pug. But so they break it down based on top 10 states for dog attacks on postal workers. Now, the first one does not surprise me. California.
California, hey.
California is one of the most fucked up places in the world. But if you
Mhm.
look at this, this is also not a surprising list. Okay? California, people are fucking crazy there. Dogs are going to be fucking crazy there. Texas, dogs at a Texas house are probably never going to be chained up, and they're taught to get rid of wild boar, coyotes, various types of dangerous animals. So they're going to be slightly aggressive. New York,
New York.
the most aggressive city in the world, has dog attacks on postal workers. I mean, go figure. Some of them are probably strays going, hey, fuck you in particular. Then there's Ohio. That's not surprising. Pennsylvania, I don't know much about. That's why I glazed over that one.
I'm
But
surprised Illinois isn't further up the list just because of what's
Chicago.
The state of Chicago, yeah, man. It's man, I'm a little shocked at that one actually.
Me too. Me too, honestly. See if I can get this cursor over to the right side of the screen here. Checking the Rumble chat. Nothing. All right. Just got to keep an eye on that because StreamYard has still not integrated. Florida, of course, Florida is known for Florida Man and various other things. So why not Florida Pets? Also, I have to wonder, do they classify alligators as dogs in the Postal Service?
Some
Just
people
wondering.
have gators as pets.
Some of them do. It's
Mhm.
true. It's true. And then, of course, we've got Michigan with Detroit in the mix. Not surprised. Missouri, I am assuming that's some redneck hounds attacking the mailman for sport with some toothless guy who weighs 700 pounds laughing in the back.
Trains the dog to attack the mailman.
And of course, North Carolina, if I remember correctly, is the dog fighting capital of the United States. So I'm just going to go out and say they probably have quite a few aggressive dogs. And of course, the source being the United States Postal Service. I am still shocked by the fact that it's 5,300. But when you spread that across 50 states, that's kind of impressive.
Yeah, this
like
is 100
true. 100 per state. PETA's going to use this as an excuse for us to get rid of dogs again.
Well, did they get into specifics on any fatalities? There's been,
they didn't get into any specifics. They mentioned that it can be lethal up here, but that's a different article, and I don't really care enough.
It can be
Hail
lethal.
to John Edgar. He says, "Hey, y'all just got here. Sorry I'm late. It's all good, homie. We just talking about the fact that 5,300 mail carriers were attacked last year by dogs. And, it was a slight decrease from the 5,400 the year before, which is great. John Edgar says, I love dogs. I have a soft spot for them. Hearing about these inbreds who run dogfight rings pisses me right off. I agree. I agree 100%. Because remember, there's no such thing as a bad dog. Okay, I don't give a fuck if it's a pit bull, if it's a chihuahua, whatever. It's not a bad dog. It's a bad owner. It's whoever raised them initially to make them that way. Are some of them genetically predispositioned to be total douchebags? Sure. I don't fucking like healers. Blue and red healers can fuck right off because they're just dicks. But ultimately, when you actually look at it, if a dog is raised correctly, regardless of the breed, it's a good dog. Tiny Metal Tree says, how much mail was destroyed by dogs last year? That's a good question. And I'd also like to know if the people are held responsible for destruction of mail if the dog gets a hold of the mail bag, because destroying someone else's mail is classified as a federal offense. Just saying. John Edgar says, correct. No bad dogs, just bad owners. Hail to the Jason Fox. Hey, bro. I'm going to drop a link to join the Gilded if you're not already, and then we can communicate directly through there if, of course, you want to join it. It is not mandatory, but since I'm not on Twitter anymore, it's the easiest way to get a hold of me. So let's just go ahead and drop that link in Rumble. Join the Gilded. And then in the YouTube, join the Gilded. That's right. And then, of course, Vince Womack also dropping the Gilded link because Vince Womack is one of my many mods. Many, many, many mods. That's a lot. I'm just saying that is a lot of postal workers getting munched. Free transgender conversion. I'm sorry, was that too much? I'm not actually sorry because I don't care. The next story is a Tennessee woman allegedly paid to hire a hitman to kill the wife of her dating match. A woman met a friend to go hiking with. Then he married another woman. This does happen, ladies and gentlemen.
Can I ask a question? Because I'm feeling a little bit threatened here. Where exactly does one go to hire a hitman? this woman seems to know where to go, and this is usually kind of a male thing, you know, the dark web and all that. But a woman, I mean,
Well,
I just get this, you know, romanticized image in my head of a woman going to this shady bar, going to this booth in the corner, and this just shady guy who just happens to be a hitman. She sits down, says, "Go kill this guy, and I'll pay you what 10,000 in Bitcoin." Oh wow, we really have.
yeah. So she went to this place named Online Killers Market, and she
Huh.
exchanged $10,000 in Bitcoin for what she thought was going to be the murder of a wife of a man she met on a dating site. This motherfucker's married and on dating sites. Just saying.
And Killers
Just
Market.
saying. Online Killers Market. Okay. First of all, if that is not the most clickbaity fucking arrest me title sting operation I've ever seen in my life, I don't know what fucking is. All right. This is just as bad as the fucking National Guardsman signing up to be a hitman through a site just like this. Yeah. See, they know. Sounds legit. Sounds totally not like a trap.
No, not at all.
And I'm just she went in there, she met this dude on a dating site, right? And she's like, I really like this guy. We go on hikes together and it's great. And then she's like, oh, he's married. This bitch needs to die. And so she's like, let's go to a place called Online Killers Market. Totally a logical decision, right? She met the man on Match.com. They became hiking friends, and then he revealed that he was going to move out of state with a woman he planned to marry. Yeah. And she used Cat Tree as her pseudonym.
Well, this proves that the age-old myth of a woman that's into nature and hiking and is physically fit doesn't automatically make them a good person.
Indeed. John Edgar says, wow, law enforcement need to set their bar very high for sting operations. They really do. They need a very high bar for these like types of stings. Obviously, you know, they put in a lot of work trying to catch this lady. It needs to seem random or an accident, Sasser said. Or plant drugs do not want a long investigation.
Wow. Okay. Where did this take place?
Sasser showed up unannounced at the
Alabama.
couple's home in Alabama.
Oh, that's precious.
Indeed.
Bama.
She's from Tennessee.
Okay.
So it's all basically the same thing, but they just like, hey, now listen. All right. I need you to make it seem random or like an accident. Go ahead and plant drugs or whatever. I don't want it to be a long investigation. Here's 10 grand in Bitcoin. Well, oh, that's right. She posted it in a public posting forum on a place called Online Killer Market. I'm guessing this lady really likes gin, not the card game. So get this. She showed up at the house in the fall of 2022. And she looks at them and she says, I hope you both fall off a cliff and die.
True love right there.
Right? Yeah.
Wow.
And she went and she gashed the sides of this people's cars, threatening calls from untraceable numbers. What could go wrong? And Vince says, I'm not saying anything, but Alabama.
There it is.
Roll Tide. Woo! She also passed on specific information about the intended victim's whereabouts. So clearly she had the plan. She had the intent. She was fully serious about doing this. Okay. She found that information from the fitness tracking application Strava, which connects to Garmin fitness watches and shares location data. So fitness tracking made it easier for this lady to build a plan Like,
Mm.
if you
Ever
ever want to
since
know why I don't use Fitbit
mm,
or Google Fit or any of these other stupid things, it's because of data tracking like this. It's not this specific reason. I don't think anyone's going to come out and try to kill me or my wife with it, but it's still one of those things that's like, I like privacy.
yeah, I mean, it's like Snapchat, dude. I mean, sure, it's yeah, you can quote unquote turn it off, but the fact that it's there and so many people are just like they don't care. They don't care. Here's my location. It's why yeah, it hasn't exactly helped. I mean, why would you want to advertise your location at all times through an app? I mean, you're just, I get it. You just give directions if you want to, send a message to someone, and where are you right now? Just give them the directions. Don't give it
Right.
like advertise to anyone who's anyone can go on there and see where you are at any given time.
Right. Hail Ryan Roger Athay. Good to see you, sir.
Hey, Ryan.
We're just talking about a lady who had the smartest idea in the world. So, Sasser also posted this on the Murder for Hire site. Yesterday, she worked from home and went for a 2-mile walk by herself. Wow. According to authorities, they got the information from a hiking app, and that she provided accurate information to the online killers market. Again, Cat Tree is not a very smart lady. I think we've established that. But she got impatient and she's all like, I've waited for 2 months and 11 days and the job is not complete. What is the delay? When will it be done? She's been arrested on probable cause that she allegedly attempted to hire a hitman to commit the murder, and she is due to appear in federal court on Thursday.
I wish I had a face to go along with this person. I really do.
I bet you she's a very interesting looking lady. By the way, Ryan, if you want to join, Gilded's open, bro. Which one should we cover next? Serial killer? Yeah, let's cover the serial killer. We'll save the juicy shit for the end. All right. Juicy shit. And it's not even in the headlines in the title of this video because YouTube would probably automatically pull the fucking string. But anyway, so police are investigating the death of 6 women in Portland and are connected to a possible serial killer. This isn't something that we see advertised very much anymore. Much like we don't hear about any reports linking a bunch of middle-aged dead guys in Chicago together. Thank you to my roommate for bringing that one to my attention again this morning. But the reason they don't often televise serial killers anymore is because then you get copycats that want the attention. And if you're a person watching this and you want to be a serial killer and you think this is a good idea, I want to remind you that you're a worthless sack of shit and that your mother never loved you. Yeah, that's a
It's a
joke about
little
serial killer development, by the way.
it's a little understanding to it given the huge increase in narcissism these days. You can just see how people that are desperate for attention might start thinking about, maybe becoming a serial killer will
Right.
get me that supply.
Indeed. And joining us, hail Jason Fox from
Hey
540
man,
Studios. How's it going, bro?
I'm doing pretty well, man. Just been relaxing today and cleaning my apartment, so not
Hell
much
yeah.
has been going on. But this woman, she sounds lovely. She sounds so smart, you know. This is the wife of the year.
Right. And who doesn't want to meet somebody on a dating app
Mm,
hoping that they'll kill your wife, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's why not?
it's just
Why?
normal these days.
It really is. It really is. It's just
Yes, it
another
really
day in
is.
the life, guys.
Yep.
So the story we're currently on is from news.com.au. That's Australian, obviously. So authorities are investigating the mysterious death of 6 women over 6 months and if they're connected and if there's a serial killer on the loose in Portland. I don't know if I need to remind you guys of this or not, but Portland went through a rough period between 2019 and still. So they're not in the greatest shape. They don't have a lot of police officers left. Let's be honest. I wouldn't want to work in Portland if I was a cop. I'd be like, you guys can suck a dick. I'm done. I'm going to go to I'm going to go to Niceville, Florida. Okay. They have the United States smallest sheriff's office. You know what that is? 3 fucking people. Their office is actually run out of an old school phone booth. Yeah, that's where I want to move.
Yep.
Shit like this ain't going to
course.
happen. Like, fucking kidding me? Now, one of the reasons this caught my attention is because I am a forensic psychologist. Like, serial killers are hardwired into my brain, period.
Yep.
So when I heard that there was a possible serial killer in Portland, I knew I had to cover this. But so the bodies of 6 women were found within 100 miles of each other on the sides of roads, in the woods, or in secluded rural areas from February to last month. February, March, April, May, June. That's only 4 months, but not 6. Just learn to count. Gosh. 5 different agencies are investigating the deaths. Now, we'll just take a quick look at these pictures real quick, okay? Hairstyle and hair color and presenting ethnicity don't line up.
Nope.
But if you look at the overall build of these women, okay, the jaws, the nose, eye lines, it's all very similar. So I can understand why they would want to see if there is a connection and if there is a serial killer on the loose. And then, of course, if you look at the geographical clustering that you have here, I don't want to say it's centered around the 205, but the chances are this is the comfort zone if there is a serial killer. Geographic profiling is very important in these types of things. Vince Womack says woke women. I don't know. I don't think so, but there's a very specific build going on here. Obviously, this woman is only slightly, and I'm not calling her fat, but she's slightly heavier set than the other 3 women.
A little heavier
than the other 4 or 5 women even. But so the most recent case was found on May 7th near Eagle Creek. Okay. She went missing in March. She went missing she was found in April. Again, March, there's a cluster in disappearance. And John Edgar says, you're right, there are facial similarities. And
there is.
The 3 most defining traits that a man will look for on a woman is her nose, her eyes, and her jaw. I know that sounds strange because most guys are like, I love them titties. But like, let's be real, you can change those whenever you want.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, whoever's doing this is a piece of shit. And I hope that they get some like Pinochet helicopter tour out of it. But there are striking similarities between these women. They all vanished within the same time period. And here we have an interview from one of the victims' sisters. And she said that I don't ever want to scare people, but reality is there are women dying at awful numbers. With each one, we as a family, we've talked about it, shared it, looked at the details, and we've talked to detectives to see if there are any similarities. A spokesman from the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office, which is investigating one of the deaths, said detectives are looking into possible connections. Okay, so even with this woman here, there are similarities. If her head wasn't tilted back, you'd see that she probably has a narrow jaw. She has the slightly narrow with a enlarged front on the nose, and her brows are actually very similar to the other women as well. None of them are necessarily heavy set. I did not look at eye color and stuff, but there's a slight possibility that they have similarities in eye color. Nope. But
The eye color is different. The one sort of defining feature that has all of them connected except the slightly heavier stock woman is the nose. It's that sort of long nose. That sort of
the nose and the connecting eye lines. Yep.
Yep.
That's what caught my attention as well.
Same here, man.
And then of course this is a Native American woman that they have yet to identify. That was found in April.
Oh,
obviously
shit.
there are slight differences, but and I'm not diminishing what happened to this woman, but there are other chances are this woman's not connected to the rest if there is in fact a serial offender.
Yep.
So, and this is where it gets kind of crazy. Like several women were found within 3 miles of each other. Most of whom are around 205, Interstate 205. And it's spread out across counties because everybody knows that police agencies don't talk to each other. They fucking don't, because they're all a bunch of glory hogs.
Right on the spot.
But
yeah,
so obviously I will keep an eye out on covering this continually, because this is crack cocaine for me. I feel very bad for these women and their families and stuff, but I never would have imagined in my lifetime we would have another headline like this.
Yeah, the fact that it's so the time frame and the fact that they're all so within that very small vicinity. Those are the big ones there. I mean, I know that general area's kind of gone to shit over the past, well, even since a little bit before COVID. The whole COVID scam, if you will. So this is interesting for the fact that how many is it? 6 women so far? Thus far? Was it 6?
Thus far that they're trying to investigate. Yes, 5 of them share enough similarities to be suspicious. Vince Womack says, would be helpful if we had more background on the victims. Well,
and the
I agree with you, but there's very good reasons that they don't share the backgrounds on victims and stuff like that. Because then they would give away things that if there is a serial killer, only he knows.
They usually they usually don't do it until they've caught the serial killer and it's in court, and then we get those kind of details.
Well, and then that'll also depend on whether or not the prosecuting attorney in the DA's office places a gag order on all evidence, because a lot of the times gag orders in cases like this, if it does turn out to be a serial killer, will last for years after the trial. And we would that's why it took us so long to get details on Bundy's cases, on Dahmer, stuff like that, because even though we knew they were heinous people, we never knew the extent of what they did until they were allowed to lift the gag orders. And then, of course, there's investigators getting desperate, which could also happen because cops bury themselves in their work. So,
they completely do.
And it's a crazy time we live in, where we now have to start worrying about, well, serial killers in mainstream media again. We've always had to worry about them existing, but as with the Son of Sam, Zodiac, all of these other things, when they started advertising it, let's say, publicly just throwing it out there for everybody to see, sensationalizing it and all this other stuff, it was one of the highest times of fear for the general public that have ever existed, because they have no idea when these people are going to strike, where they are. Did he take a vacation and come to my town? All these other things. And in the world that we live in today, it becomes an extra concern for me, because there is already an unsurmountable amount of fear mongering going on. We want people, they want people terrified beyond belief right now. And you know what the best and easiest way to do that is? There's a killer on the loose.
Yeah, let's throw serial killers in the mix as well, sign of the times.
Because, I mean, never let a crisis go to waste. If this turns out to be a serial killer, we then have to start being concerned with not only copycats, but what the media is going to do with it.
Yep.
because media sensationalizing this kind of stuff is one of the reasons like we had so many serial killers, honestly. Because there are attention whores. You see them all over the place. We talked about it last
Yep.
week in the left-wing authoritarianism. It when they want the attention, they will literally do anything to get it.
And look at the times we're living in as well, because the mainstream media, they're spin doctors. That's what they are. And look at how they spin things these days, like the agendas that are going on. And you stamp that onto things like this, like serial killers. I mean, yeah, it could
Yep.
really go south big time.
Yep.
And the fact that you're so close to a general election,
Mhm.
and at least in the United States, and with conflicts going on around the world, and we have never, sure, we've had serial killers before over the
Yep.
past 100 years, some of the worst that's on record,
Yep.
but like you said, Court, with everything else going on that we haven't seen before, not so much, and I'm gonna try and simplify it, overly simplify it. The craziness of it all has not been like this. I mean, sure, you had like the Vietnam conflict going on when we had a lot of those big time serial killers.
Yep.
But with what we have now, with all the different agendas and the instability around the world in general, just the whole world over, not just the United States and, you know, one other country in the world. This is a worldwide situation. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's even if there's some truth to it, the fact that it can ignite such a like the fear mongering, as you said,
Mm.
um, it not only would it inspire possible other situations with people being inspired by the serial killer, it can also destabilize people's mental health even
It can.
more.
It can,
Yep.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Indeed.
we're living in a time where where the mental health crisis has never been more great.
Right.
So yeah, you
Yep.
can. It's almost like, and I hate to say this because it's, it brings out the worst in people, is
Yeah.
when you look at the mainstream media, they are the kind of vicious, vile human beings that will push it as a big thing
Yep.
when they're given, the go ahead. And like I said, with the times we live in, it would turn into such a massive shit show.
Yep.
Yeah,
Indeed.
I really hope that we get to avoid that, because that's the last thing we need right now.
I
Yep.
agree. Hail to
Completely
JG
agree.
Gunn. He says, nice hat. Thank you. Sean Estep gave it to me. I like it.
Mhm.
And
You
Vince
fit
Womack
it.
says, weaponized autism. Indeed. He brought up something here. Vince Womack did. He says, I get the reason why they don't share information or all of the information, but the internet is great at solving problems. The internet has solved a problem in 2 weeks that medical scientists couldn't solve in years. Something about, I'm going to say prions or something like that. I don't trust the internet to solve problems like this. As a matter of fact, I
No.
actually personally see the internet like this would be the first time we would see real life what would you call them? Serial killer roadies, fan boys or whatever pop up during an active serial event.
Yep.
You would see people automatically try to humanize the individual,
Oh,
regardless of the
yes.
demographics of the victims. You will see people try to say that he's misunderstood, he or she is
Yeah.
misunderstood.
Look what happened to Dahmer when he got a lot of fan mail when he was in prison.
Yeah,
That's just like one example. And when you have the
yeah,
internet, it can be a lot
Aha.
worse.
murder whores.
Jason,
Yep.
you bring up a really good point there, because and I don't see this as a coincidence, and I don't want to get all conspiratorial, but we've just had a Jeffrey Dahmer like resurgence, if you will, with the
Yeah.
show that
Yep.
we just had, and look at all the controversy that spawned from that. There's been a
Yep.
few other shows as well. Sort of, I don't say glorifying it, but I think we need another word, because we have to remember, yes, they are human, but let's not try to put a spin on it. They are human beings that have done unspeakable things, and we should,
Yep.
I don't want to say judge, but we should treat them that way. Don't try and
Yep.
say it's one or another thing that it absolutely is not, which there's a lot of that
Yep.
going
Yeah,
around now.
because
But
also humanizing these individuals, I get that they are biological rights human,
yep,
but they gave up their human rights the moment they decided to destroy someone
Become.
else's
they're
life.
Yep.
psychopaths.
Yeah.
They
Yep.
are
Mhm.
They are.
psychopaths, plain and simple, and we should
Yep.
treat them that way. We shouldn't,
Yep.
say they're misunderstood, or sure, we should investigate them, study them, if you will, before we.
Behind glass.
Yeah, no, we should
Yeah.
find out
Behind glass.
what their motivations was, and then once we find that
Yep.
out, and we
Lock them in a
also
hole
have
and leave them.
to remember that there are a certain group of psychopaths that are very good at manipulation and lying
Mm-hmm.
as well. So we can't just go off of, like the Dahmer case, which we saw, and even it goes as far back as World War II with that Nazi scientist. His
Oh
name
yeah.
escapes me. Yeah, like I remember in the early 90s, they were trying to put a spin on that. He was misunderstood. I was like, are you fucking kidding?
Yeah.
Are you fucking
See,
kidding?
That's what they do. That's what they do. They want to like,
mm,
oh, this person is misunderstood, and they put it. When it
yep,
comes to like media, TV series, movies now, they also push that on
mm,
characters, like a psychopath who wants to like destroy the whole world and do a genocide in a movie or a series. Oh, it's just a misunderstood character, because it's
right.
probably had a bad past. You don't know. Don't judge. It's just, oh, come on.
Yeah.
It's
And
annoying.
yeah,
it's also like the fact that it's predictable in that perspective in today's society is also very sad, because we have people hunting for an idol that they can worship and that they can follow
yeah,
and that they can internalize and become representative thereof. And unfortunately, people will cling on to anyone that hits
Yep.
specific markers. If it hits them on a religious spectrum, we got Jim Jones, we got Charles Manson.
Yep.
If it hits them on an
Yep.
interpersonal spectrum, we've got Bundy and Dahmer,
Yep.
who collected wives basically after they got arrested and were in prison for the
Oh
rest of their
yeah.
lives.
yep.
You have people like I'm surprised they haven't pushed to have Albert Fish sensationalized and martyrdized, because in case you guys don't know who Albert Fish is, he was one of the earliest serial killers documented in New York. He preyed upon children between the ages of 7 and 9, and he was a cannibal. He was a very terrible person. He makes Geen look like a scout leader. And
Yeah.
these are the kinds of people that we will be seeing sensationalized in the near future. I can guarantee it. It's just a matter of time
Yep.
before we get a Dahmer level documentary or something, mockumentary even, on Fish and other people. And I mean, when I say serial killers hold a special place in my brain, like I have an encyclopedia on them.
Yep.
I have copies of the original Zodiac letters to study. I have copies of mail correspondence that went through for Ted Bundy while he was in prison. I study these guys because as much as they're shit individuals, they teach us about an aspect of humanity that none of us want to recognize.
Yep.
And if you can understand that dark aspect, then you can better protect yourself against these things in the world. So
Yep.
learn things. Now we're going to step off this heavy topic.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about Sweden's newest sport. Do any of you
Hey,
know
my
what it is?
neighbors. Yay, Sweden.
Yay, Sweden. Well, in case anyone needs a new sport to compete in, Sweden has officially declared sex as a sport.
What the
And they are organizing the first ever European sex championship.
I am shocked Germany didn't beat them to the punch. I really am.
That's a fair
I'm
point.
surprised Norway didn't do this either first, because Norway is a sexual country as fuck. And I'm Norwegian, so I know all about that.
Yeah, Norway, sex and alcohol. Yep.
Yup. It is
John,
Mhm.
fact.
John Edgar, wait, what?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Biggest pastime.
That's how me and Cory became friends, because we have a big passion together about hating Norway, and as a
Well,
Norwegian, it's fun.
Sean's the reason I hate
Uh,
Norway, bro.
I pretty much
Yeah.
had to flee that country,
Yeah,
dude.
Sean's
Not
the reason
Yeah.
I
originally
hate
from there,
Norway.
How
but
do you think it is for me? How do you think it is
Yeah.
for me
I
living
f-
here?
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I feel bad for you. I really do. I'm sure you're familiar.
Yep.
Just really quickly. You've heard of Nav, right? Yeah, I'm sure you're familiar with
Mm-hmm.
Nav
Oh
being in
yeah,
Norway. How
he
can you
is.
not? Yeah.
Yep.
I played a
Because I
big
got
part
I
in.
got for I got forced to become a nover when I was younger, so and they
Same,
destroyed a lot of my life. So
same.
I'm not allowed to
Yeah.
work. I have to live on this for the rest of my life, even though I
Mm,
am capable to work. They
mm,
blame my mental illness. My
yep.
old psychiatrist blamed that I am mentally challenged, and I'm just like,
Mm,
wait, what? I've been living alone since I was 16. I've done everything since I was 16. I have my own company, so fucking much, and it's just like,
yeah.
come on,
Yeah, man.
yeah,
I hear you big time. I might. If you want, you're on Gildan now, right?
yes, I am.
I might actually bring you on for. I got my own channel with Escaping the Matrix, where I talk about philosophy and things that are going on in
Politics
the
and all
world.
kinds of shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I'd love to bring you on, Jason, just to talk a little bit about the system in Norway.
yeah, we can do
We're
that, man.
both, the yeah, just it'll be cool to bounce opinions around our experiences and
Yes.
how it kind of goes under the radar a lot as well, that nobody really
Yep.
pays attention to it. Things that historically speaking have been deemed to be almost criminal. I mean, I bring this up in one of my
Yep.
videos about Norway, like how it's been in the European Human Rights Court for breaking
Mm.
more human rights laws than any
Oh,
was it 5 European countries combined.
yes.
I mean, it's that bad.
Yep.
For a
It's like,
country that the mainstream media spun as being the greatest country to live in, to be the most
yep.
happiest country to
And
live in,
it's
and it's
not.
it's
And it's not,
bullshit.
man.
It's such
It's
bullshit.
not at
It's
all.
unbelievable. Yeah.
And I've heard so many times in my lifetime now is that, oh, Norway's so cheap to live in. Yeah, it's just like,
Oh
oh
gosh,
yeah,
no.
bullshit, man. It's expensive as fuck. You have to
It's
be rich
so bad.
basically to live here.
Yeah, and they've
And
designed it that way because
yeah, even
so many.
healthcare. They say
Oh
like
yeah, that
healthcare is
that
so
whole
great.
free healthcare bullshit.
Yeah. Yes.
Man. Oh, that one gets me every time.
Yep.
But yeah, we're derailing the show a
Yeah,
little
Yeah.
bit,
I'm
but
just
I'd
a
love
little
to
bit.
have you. Yeah, sorry,
sorry.
Corey. Sorry,
We know
buddy.
that the Norwegian government likes to fuck people, but apparently the Swedish government supports it
Mm.
as a sport. So I'm
Yeah.
actually going to cover this. So Vince
Yep.
Womack, he says, do they go for quality or quantity? We'll get there.
We will.
And Terminus S says, I'm betting there's skeet shooting involved. Probably.
Great.
This one here. He also says, if it's going to be televised, then I'm sure many people can't wait to to see men do their thing. Indeed.
Yep.
I will star those to talk about in a second there, Vince.
But I'm surprised that this actually became a sport. That's interesting.
I'm not at this point. After everything we've seen in the last few years,
Yeah,
I'm not
true.
surprised.
And it's Sweden.
The first ever sex tournament is set to take place early next week in Sweden. That's this week. Wow. Which is recognized sex as a sport. Named the
I wonder.
European Sex Championship, the competition is scheduled to take place on June 8th under the supervision of the Swedish Sex Federation. Participants in the championship will compete for 6 hours each day over the course of many weeks, with individual matches reportedly lasting 45 to 60 minutes. The competition will last several weeks, and the competitors from different European countries will face off in 16 different disciplines to showcase their talents and abilities.
Okay, I guess that I just have to become. I have to join this competition because I can win over all of them.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people signing up to go over to Sweden at this exact moment. They're like, "Oh fuck, let's do
Depends what the
this."
price is. Depends on what the price is. You know, if I can win, sure, but I want a good price for it.
I was about
Right?
to say, Jason, at least you don't have to travel far. You could just jump on the train, and if it's
Yes,
taking
it's not
place in
far from here.
Stockholm. Yeah. Oh
So
man.
participants will earn 5 to 10 points for different sex acts. The championship feature. Hold on. It, just wait. The championship features a wide range of disciplines, including seduction, body massages, blah, exploring erotic zones, prelude, oral sex, penetration, endurance, physical appearance, pose execution, creativity in position changes, and the number of orgasms within a given time, artistic performance and pose transitions, and the capacity to raise blood pressure and heart rate during the competition.
I am really looking forward to the revised version of the Kama Sutra because you just know that we're going to see some freaky shit going on in
Right?
in
Vince
these
says,
tournaments.
I'm
Yeah.
skeptical. I've trained for a long time till I found out cockfighting was done with chickens. Not anymore, bro.
Not anymore.
Just head
Not
on over to
anymore.
Sweden, and cockfighting is probably it's equivalent to fencing at this point.
I wonder how
Terminus
this
says,
all. Yeah, just
sorry,
read
go
more.
ahead.
No, I was gonna say that I wonder how it is because you know the whole society now is like you have to have the woke stuff and they
Yeah,
them
can you
and
imagine?
how is that gonna be with this show with this competition?
Oh man, could
Oh,
you?
I'm sure
Yeah.
they'll have a special Olympics for those people. What? Terminus S says, I'm sure they'll make it into an Olympic sport too, since I hear there's a lot of sex going on in Olympic dorm rooms. Indeed. Those man. So, additional categories consist of the most exquisite and complicated position, the most creative communication as determined by a panel of spectators, the pair who exhibits the most activity, no fucking missionary style here, bitches. Wow. Artistry in the Kama Sutra, and popularity among judges and viewers. The competition is separated into 3 stages, each with each level requiring a certain number of points in order to advance. Participants can earn 5 to 10 points in each discipline, which is decided by a mix of public votes and a panel of 5 judges. Will Johnny Sins be a judge in this?
Before we move on, because this is going to be a big one, because competitors of any gender or sexual orientation welcome. That's yeah, oh man, but like, are we going to have referees?
Yep.
I'm looking forward to injuries. I'm looking forward to the first death, to the first fatality. I mean, this is
And the
gonna be
competitor
great.
from Italy has been disqualified due to a penile fracture.
I can't help, as much as this kind of disgusts me, I'm also like, my morbid sense of humor is just laughing so hard on the inside right now.
Me too.
It's like watching a car crash, you know. It's like, oh,
Yep.
that's terrible. But you
What
can't.
happened
You
next?
just, yeah, like I can't look away. I need to know more. This is,
Tiny Metal Tree says instant replay. Yeah, the tape gets worn out really quick though.
Oh my lord.
The times we live in, dude, the degeneration that's going on with the rise of AI, with this shit, it's like, I don't want to be one of those assholes like the end is nigh, but come on, this
Come on,
must
yes.
be nudging it on a little bit. I mean, how much lower can the human race
Like
sink?
this sounds like an episode of South Park.
It
Right?
does. It does. Like, it sounds like such an exaggeration of a joke. Like,
Yes.
you know, like 10 years, 15 years ago, you'd be like, that'll never happen. That's too
Right.
much.
Yeah,
And
never.
here we are. This is great.
So this next part is
Here we
I
go.
already have nasty images of like 700-pound she-males being like, yeah. You know, Gorlock
Oh,
the Destroyer
God.
finally has an event to compete in.
Oh my god.
Want me on top?
Your partner didn't spend enough time on top. I would have died. The European Sex Championship values diversity and accepts competitors of any gender or sexual orientation. Expect chickens to be a primary exhibit for some of these people. The organizers emphasize the potential strategic value of sexual orientation in this sport, which they hope may eventually be adopted by other European nations. And now, competing in the long distance anal dive, John and his partner, Todd. I mean, what the fuck? Is it a co-op or versus? I don't know. They'll probably have team sports, group activities.
Fight.
The organizers stated the incorporation of
Oh,
sexual
wow.
orientation as a part of sporting tactics will be a groundbreaking development that'll break some things among European countries. Hail to Sean Estep. He says it beats all drug Olympics on SNL where Phil Hartman pulled out his own arms off in a deadlift. I'm just like, I still can't, like, how did Matt and Trey not pick up on this for South Park? Like, seriously.
Well, they kind of said it themselves, dude, that the world's gotten so insane since, it feels like they're no longer a parody. I remember them doing an interview not too long ago about that. And they've kind of tried to show that a little bit in their
Oh
latest
God, John.
season.
The relay race.
I'm looking forward to the endurance.
The Iron Man of Sex Olympics. That's funny. Is Viagra classified as doping? Not in this case. Not in this case. In this case, doping is allowed. They want you to take ecstasy. They want you to take all the Viagra you can handle, and they want you to just bump a little meth while you're at it, just to keep up that endurance, baby.
Well, we'll have to forget about steroids, won't we?
The pole vault. Wow. Steroids are considered banned just because of how small they make your weenie.
Exactly.
The
Can't have that in the show.
Right? The title of this man, the president of the Swedish Federation of Sex, Dragon Breivik. Wow. Remarked that he hopes sex will eventually be
never mind.
Breivik, you disgrace the Jaffa. Oh my gosh. He highlighted the likelihood of sexual engagement to promote both physical and mental well-being and the need for training. He voiced, just like any other sport, achieving desired results in sex requires training. Therefore, it is only logical for people to start competing in this domain as well.
Remember the times where sex was in your bedroom with,
right?
With your partner? Remember those days?
Yeah,
I do. I do.
Connection,
those days are still alive and well for me. Just saying, because I don't really want to have to compete. Like, and now for competition of strongest weenie, John the Hammer Dingelschmidt. I mean,
dude, just to get this is not really my style, but just to get a little serious right now is something that's very difficult to be serious with. The fact that this is now openly turning sex into a competitive sport. Now, again, with the increase in pornography, narcissism, and all those wonderful traits of the human experience, I cannot see anything positive coming from this. It's just going to take all of that to a whole new level. You're talking about decreased birth rates. You're talking about relationships that are failing. Divorce rates have never been higher. How do you think that's going to help that? OnlyFans. And again, I'm not trying to attack, people that are making a living off of OnlyFans, but can you see how not only through twisted inspiration, but how partnerships could form, sponsorships, bringing OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, Trojan,
yeah,
I mean, Viagra.
It's
I bet there's a lot of people on OnlyFans and other websites that probably want to join this.
Yeah, big time.
Absolutely.
They could the things they could do, it's like live streams or however they do it on OnlyFans. And
they do everything from live streams to videos to pictures. I have done OnlyFans back in the past, so I have some experience with that.
Sure.
Vince Womack says, when judges come on the field used to be a bad thing.
Oh, man.
I'm curious if they're going to have singles events in this.
That's interesting. Singles events, partner events. poly events. I don't know, dude.
Dude. And they're all like, and now for the group wrestling competition. Oh my gosh. So apparently this was a similar thing happened with a Minnesota Catholic college where they had sex competitions
What
on
the fuck?
campus. Yep. A group of students from St. John's University, an all-male university, launched a competition to see who could lure the maximum number of female students from their sister school, the College of St. Benedict. It was competitions, but not quite like this. It does give in, I don't know if they allow for, like, could you imagine merchandising this event?
Oh my god.
Oh, you
Oh,
just
jeez.
know. I mean, it's not only is it going to happen, but if this takes off,
Oh my god.
I know it's really
Yeah, it
just
takes
with
off.
everything else. Yeah. Oh, this is going to be great. The
Hail
future is
Tollback.
bright.
Like,
Yeah.
how are we supposed to take this seriously? That's the thing.
I don't know how to take this seriously because
me neither.
honestly, it breaks my brain in ways that I'm
Yes.
like, wait, like sex is
I-
a
I nev-
competition now? Is like
I
they're
never
high diving
thought
it,
I never thought South Park would be a real thing in real life
right?
like
know.
this.
Well, I've been saying at least since just before COVID, we're living in a parody, and this just proves it to me. This is just more evidence for it. It's like every time, I almost have to slap myself in the face sometimes because I do say to myself, how it can't get much worse than this. It can't get much crazier than this. How
And
how
suddenly
much
it
lower,
happens.
yeah. And then they pull something like this. It's like I said,
Yep.
if this takes off, I mean,
Yeah.
it
Tollbot
is
says
clown world. Yeah,
it is
exactly.
it is the clown world. Tollbat, 100%
It
clown world.
is.
Ridiculous. So to get
Yeah.
a couple of Vince Womack's previous comments, he says, quickly circling back, have you ever watched The Wave from 1981? It's a 44-minute movie.
Oh.
He describes it as an experiment in an American high school where students learn how easy it is to be seduced by the same social forces that led to the horrors of Nazi Germany, based on a true story. If I remember correctly, the experiment that he's speaking of literally just took participants and put them in two separate color shirts and then said, the people in this color shirt are in charge. They have the authority. And the people in this color shirt are not. They are required to do whatever is told of them, or et cetera, et
Oh
cetera.
yes,
They did a
yes.
similar experiment inside of a prison.
I remember.
Yep.
And it's very easy for people to be tempted by these things.
Yep.
Vince Womack says, at least most of us can now call ourselves athletes. Some probably, but I don't know about that. What a crazy fucking world we live in,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. But we are at the hour and 3-minute mark, so we are going to go ahead and start winding down. I do have a message from Ryan Roger Athay stating that he will be joining us next week because he's putting some finishing touches on a video that he's doing. And Vince Womack sent us a meme over on the Gilded side. It's an Alabama meme. This is fantastic. I like that. I like that a lot.
That was
That's
fun.
great. And then, of course, if you guys want to join the Talks a Lot Town Square Gilded, you get to see all these fun things. Booch Womack's in there. We got Ropeback Mountain. Got Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox from the multiverse.
Machine Gun Kelly. Oh my
I know, man.
Shark Man is a shark.
They love their whiteys down there, don't they?
They really do. It's the great white Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and wind down. So, Sean, what you got going on? Where can they find you?
Well, I've gotten all my equipment back up and running. I'm trying to get my Escaping the Matrix channel back into a organized state with regular videos coming out on a daily basis. I'm just in the phase now where I have to get everything in place, transferring files from 2 or 3 different devices and getting all that sorted out. It's the tedious part that I really can't stand. Kind of
Mm.
And the sleepless nights where I'm just up organizing things. Once that's done, I'm really going to put a lot of focus on my Rumble channel. And also maybe on my off time, do some video game stuff. Because I actually do have Omega Star VG. I did a lot of mods for video games back in the day. So I might do a little bit of that as well. And also focus on Omega Star Productions, which is what I really want to take off eventually, because that deals with more with movies. We did a short movie a few years ago called Pokemon, a dark comedy. I've spoken about it before. If you guys could take the time to watch that and give it a view, give it a like or a dislike, that really helps out. Other than that, hopefully Cory will have me on a couple of times in the future.
Absolutely.
Wonderful, Jason. It's been great to talk to you, man.
Same to you, man.
Hopefully be able to have you on an Escaping the Matrix show.
Yeah,
Talk delve deep
I'm
into
all up for
the.
it, man.
Sounds great. We'll be able to go deep into the system over in Norway and maybe shed some light that people don't know
Yeah,
about, because there's a lot of illusion
tired
there.
of the lies. Tired of the lies about Norway and how great it's supposed to be.
Hell yeah. I
Amen,
look
man.
forward to seeing
Amen.
that show. What's up?
Amen.
Just a little example to
Mhm.
people who's out there. Our prime minister invited Taliban to Norway and to talk about women rights. So yeah, it kind of says
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah, it's there's a lot, and last year, passing laws where they're allowed to institutionalize, the law enforcement are allowed to institutionalize anyone without a doctor's recommendation or anything like that. They can just throw anyone into
Yep.
it. Yeah, and they've passed laws there where for future quote unquote lockdowns, they can force people to take the vaccine, no problem, like vaccines and stuff like that, without any consent. So that's all
Yep.
happening over there. But yeah, other than that, I'm really grateful for anyone that checks into my work. If you could, like, subscribe, it's a choice I leave to you. And Cory, thanks for having me on today, man.
Hell yeah. I don't give you that choice. Just subscribe and push the like button. You don't have to share it. Just subscribe. It's
I
fine.
like to remind people
Yeah.
that they have a choice. There's not
Not in
enough
today's
people.
society. You're not
No.
allowed to do that.
You're not allowed to do
Gosh.
anything.
So, Jason, where can we
Yes,
find you?
me.
What you got going on, bro?
Everyone can find me at 540 Studio. I'm Jason Fox, the founder and creator of 540. We are going to do a podcast tomorrow. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we do the Beyond Show. And, we talk about pop culture and what's going on in pop culture. And we also have a show on normally Saturdays. It's called Not a Podcast, but a Podcast, where we talk about whatever. We don't focus on articles. We just, have fun, sit down, talk about whatever we want. And I'm working on trying to get some guests on. I'm currently speaking with Chuck Dixon again and Mike Barron. I'm going to try to get them on again and talk about some comic stuff. And recently, like everybody probably knows, Chuck Dixon is now part of Ripaverse. So, I want to talk a little bit about that with him at some point. No, and some videos I'm working on will be published at some point. I just need to finish them. And yeah, that's about it. And I want to say, come over, give a like, dislike. I don't fucking care, man. Whatever, just give us hate or love. I love it both. I know I have some haters out there from a Discord server because I told my opinions on how I feel about Star Wars, and and they told me I was problematic, and the guy who runs that server said I was the problem just because I said my opinions. But that's just fun. I love the haters.
Right?
Um, again, Cory, thank you for having me on. Sean, it was real
Absolutely.
nice meeting you, brother.
Likewise, man.
You're welcome to join our shows too, man. And
Thank you. I appreciate that.
yep. And like I always say before we wrap up stuff, to everybody out there, just remember, life's too short. Make the most of it. And we in this
Indeed.
panel, we appreciate and love the support that we're getting. We would not been here today if it wasn't for all of you guys out there. So thank you again.
For real. So make sure you join the Talks a Lot Town Square Gilded. for awesome things like Vince Womack just posted links to The Wave in the movie tab in the Talks a Lot Gilded, so we can go watch that and check out a social experiment on that. And I agree with Tolbat, no choice, like and subscribe or die. That's right, because I have that kind of power. I'm coming through this internet to you right now. Terminus S says, night, y'all. Good night, sir. I do thank everyone for joining us today. Make sure you catch me tonight over on Comics Division's channel and Yelling at Parked Cars. Make sure that you go and buy my new song over at Bandcamp. It is Total Control. Make sure you're following me on Rumble. If you want to support the channel, you can become a monthly supporter over on Rumble. Or you could hit me up through Ko-Fi. You could buy some music. You could buy some merch over at Talks a Lot Trinkets on Spreadshop. All the links should be in my channel descriptions and shit. If they're not, let me know, because I am an airhead. That's just kind of what happens. If you want to go ahead and check out the song, of course, there it is, coryharrison.bandcamp.com. Just go check that out. It's only one track right now because I'm remixing all the old ones. So keep an eye out for those. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, stay sexy. Don't get murdered. And as always, have a wonderful time. Bye-bye now.